Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to I think we're in the 6th episode of getting into Feed the Beast. So just like last time I told you guys, I wanted to show you hooking this up, this automated tree farm that I've got disabled currently, feeding the wood into these furnaces like I said it would. Now the way this is working is I've upgraded my servos like I was telling you guys I wanted to for quite some time. Instead, puked a tree on the ground, that's good. Anyway, instead of using that old iron servo, we're now using a reinforced servo that can stick out 64 at once. And the other good setting is that it can do this, which changes how it interfaces with what's on the other side. So it pulls items out of the chest. Usually though, it would just go to the first available source. What this does, however, is this gives us the option to change it to round robin mode, which means it won't just pump to the first available one. It'll say, I've filled you up with as much as I can, now I'm going to go to you, and then you, and it'll just do, like, let's say it has 4 pieces of wood in here. It'll put out 4 pieces of wood to this first chest, and then the next time it gets any amount of wood, it'll put it into this furnace, not chest, and then it'll do the same over and over. Same thing up here is we've got our coal feeding from these furnaces up into here, and when it gets the coal, it pumps it out using round robin to one generator, then to the next. That way we end up with all of our generators receiving coal in small amounts instead of just one generator receiving coal in big amounts, and that keeps the whole process going much nicer. Also, I've changed the configuration of my power setup. I've got all the power feeding into this little capacitor here, and then it feeds out the top. So all the input goes into these sides using this configuration menu like that, and all of the output goes to the top. And what that does is it just keeps the output and the input separate to where the power has to go through here in order to be utilized, and that just keeps things a lot more neat. One thing I want to do before we get into applied energistics like I said we would though, is I want to show you guys just how fast, like how cool, not necessarily fast, but how awesome this automated process is. It's fully set up now. This will run indefinitely until these chests get just so chuck over full of wood that you don't have room anymore for the wood. That's how this system is built. That's why I build it this way, is so that now that it's done, I mean, you guys saw how much work it took to get this thing running, but now that it is actually done, it'll keep working for me forever. I love that. So I want to show you guys how this is going to look. If I switch this from rubber, I'm going to use spruce, because spruce is my favorite type of wood for building out of, and as well, spruce trees when they can grow together in this great big tree, which gives us more wood than just one sapling. I love it, and it's perfectly compatible with this system here. So I'm going to start by just putting the saplings into the chest. I'm going to stand right up here and go into like creative mode. Let's just do that now so I don't, die. And then I'm just going to let this thing record, and you guys can watch in super high speed how this farm just grows from something small to something big. It should be something actually really, really satisfying to watch. Let's get going. So hey, not bad on the amount of lumber we're harvesting, right? Right? Well hey, anyway, back at it. So I told you guys that we were going to go over applied energistics, which we are right now. But first, I just want to show you I've made some changes. We have a roof now. Yes, a functional, actual roof. I also like to build things like considering if it was actually holding up the roof. Makes it, I don't know, in my opinion, it makes it looks better if you think it through logically. But most of the house is now inside. We've even got the farm almost inside. I'm going to roof that later. That probably won't come for a while though. And just taking a little flight out here, you can see that we've got the bare bones of a house structure finally. Also, like I said, I replaced this with some cobblestone because I don't want these trees growing and then like attaching to some wood on my house, and then the harvester goes, ooh, look, an entire house to harvest. Blah, blah. That would suck. I've actually had that happen before, and let me tell you what, it is awful. Don't like it one bit. So I've also, over here, you'll see I've built a room, or at least, I mean, you know, the startings of a room, where the computer in Applied Energistics goes. Now, as I was saying, Applied Energistics, what it does is it puts all of your items in one place instead of having all these chests and like, I've got a full bag of items and I have to go and put it away in all of my chests and it takes forever. Yes, it takes forever. You just go, you right-click the computer. Oh, whoops, my bad. You right-click the computer and then all of your items will be in one place. That is a huge feature of what this thing does, but it actually isn't the only thing that these computers can do. You can automate some cool processes, a bunch of stuff we're going to go over later. And with a mod pack that's so big, if I type Applied Energistics into here, you'll see that there's a lot of new items that are introduced to us. There's just row upon row of things, and being new at any mod pack, it can be hard to know, you know, like, where do I start? Well, I can tell you guys exactly where. It's with this charger right here. This is going to be the first item that we're going to try to get, and you'll see that in order to do that we need to have these Fluix crystals. If I click on that and go over, it'll tell you you need to drop some charged Certus, some quartz, and some charged Certus quartz, nether quartz, which is why I told you guys to mine that, and then redstone dust into a puddle of water right next to each other. Wait a moment and you'll get 2 of these Fluix crystals. Thing is though, is that a lot of the Certus quartz that you find is, let's see here, it's just Certus quartz. I've got in my inventory though a charged Certus quartz, and you really need to be on the lookout for that when you're mining because they're very rare, and if you find one and don't pick it up, you've essentially just kind of screwed yourself over a little bit. So make sure that you do pick those up when you see them, charged Certus quartz. First thing though is that we need a puddle of water to go ahead and drop these guys into so we can get our first set of Fluix crystals. I just happen to have some water right here, and hey, since this is the room where the computer's gonna go, I'm gonna go ahead and actually just drop this water in the corner here, temporary use, so we can have somewhere to put these items. I'm going to spit those all out though, and you'll see a cool little animation. There's some electricity, and blammo, there we go. We just got an achievement, unnatural. If we click on that, it'll tell us why. You created some Fluix crystals, and that's legit. Now here's what these guys will do. If I head over to our crafting station, put these in here, like so, with the iron, just like the recipe before said to do. I can pull this charger out and I can create more of those charged Certus quartz off of this charger. It's great. It's great. That way we don't have to go mining for an ultra rare item all the time. Now first up though is there's 2 ways to power this charger. The first is to run it directly into my power support, which is exactly what I'm going to do. Or you could go build a crank out of sticks. The item is just called crank, and you sit here and you would click the crank until it charged. And like I've told you before, I don't like babysitting things, so we're not going to do that. We're going to go ahead and stick with my previous plan, which was to just plug it in. Plug it in, plug it in. We'll run the power in, just like that. I think it has to be powered from the top, unless I'm remembering incorrectly. And now there we go. If I stick that in there, it just charged, and we can do that a couple of times. Gives ourselves more charged Certus crystals. We are also going to learn how to automate this process. I'm not interested in sitting here, playing around with this Certus quartz forever. You can see it's taking its time to charge up. There we go, finally. And I don't want to sit here and babysit this. I mean, I might as well just be cranking, and then finally be like, oh look, it just charged, done. This is just as much a waste of time, and we're going to go ahead and fix that right now. This is one of the first things I suggest you do with applied Energistics. We're going to grab us our handy-dandy item ducts. We're going to grab us some servos. Keep in mind you do not need the nice servos for this. This little dinky iron servo will suit you just fine. But we're going to go over here. We've got our item duct, and we're going to put one here, and then let me go grab some chests. Alright, and there we go. We'll put one chest here, one chest there. We'll put one servo there, one servo there. And now, as per the usual, I'm going to turn off the redstone signal requirement for these. I've got a cow frequenting my house. You can live here, cow. Just don't be surprised if I eat you later. I want this one to really, I don't care what it pumps out. This one, though, you have to tell it that it can only pump out that. And I'll show you why. If I just put this in here and start letting it feed in, it'll immediately pull it without even letting it charge. Or at least it should pull it without letting it charge. I don't know why it's not. But sometimes you will run into that issue. Easy way to fix it is just to put that in there, whitelist it, and it will pull nothing but the final product. And now we've effectively automated that process. We don't have to babysit it anymore. We're getting plenty of charged Certus quartz. That's great. Now then, next thing that we need to do is we actually need to go find some meteors. This will all make sense later. This is a big mod. It took me a long time to learn it. For now, just bear with me. Trust me that I know what I'm talking about. I've been through this mod. We'll get there, guys. We'll get there. But here's an example of one of these meteors that we're going to have to go and find. But if you're maybe on a server, you haven't had free reign of the map, or I don't know, right? Maybe you haven't flown around ahead of time like I have to discover what your world looks like. We actually do have a solution for finding these meteors. It is through the meteorite compass. You grab a charged Certus quartz crystal, go figure, 4 pieces of iron, and so we're going to go ahead and do that just so that I can at least show you guys how this works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 iron right there. Go ahead and plug them into the crafting table, and we've got that meteorite compass, and you can see that it's pointing in a direction. When I turn it, I turn, it turns. It's pointing us in this way, though, somewhere off to the east. What it's doing is it is pointing to the closest meteor that exists. Make sure, though, that you have, before you go, you gotta have a tool that can mine obsidian and better. So you're gonna want this pickaxe. These meteors are a pain to harvest, by the way. They take some time. But if I follow this compass, eventually we're going to find a couple of chunks that a meteor has crashed in. It might be on the surface, it might be underground, and we'll find out when we get there. Oh, and here we go, that quick. You'll see it starts to spin. If I zoom in real close on my mini-map, maybe not that close, you'll see that I just barely entered a chunk, and if I leave, it points to that chunk again, starts spinning. Now let's see here, it looks like it's not in this chunk, it's in this chunk. Maybe it shares, you know, a chunk with this guy. Yep, it's also here. It is also here. And it's also, I bet it's also here. No, surprisingly. Okay, but we've determined that this meteor is common among all of these chunks right here, which means that it's probably somewhere in the middle of this. That's important to know because you're going to have to dig for it. It's underground somewhere, and, you know, if you don't do that little preemptive scan ahead of time to find out how many chunks it's in, you can't narrow it down as easily, and, you know, but now I know for sure that part of the meteor at least has to be right here because it's shared, it's common among all 4 of these chunks. So I'm going to go ahead and dig down, and there it is, sky stone. Pull out my pickaxe. It's not taking as long as I remember. That's actually great news for us, and there actually is the chest. Wow, that was lucky. We look inside of here, and what we find is these inscriber engineering press, the inscriber calculation press. These are some of the most important items for making this mod pack work, and you can only find these inside of meteors. You cannot build them unless you have them. Once you have them, though, you can spend a block of iron to turn that block of iron into a new one of these inscriber presses. There are 4 in total. If we look over here, we may find them, or maybe not, because I'm kind of blind, but anyway, there are 4 of these, so I'm going to go ahead and just to make life easier for us, instead of having to do the diggy like we did, I'm actually just going to go over here to this one. Time's sake though, I can double click that meteor, and it will pull up this menu. It will save the location of that meteor. Let's go ahead and rename that to Meteor. Meteoro. And then I'm going to make it black because meteors are black. I'm going to change this y-axis up to maybe like 150 though, because I don't want to spawn inside the meteor. Make sure you have a jetpack if you do that though, because if you didn't have a jetpack, you'd probably die, and ain't nobody like dying, right? There we go, it's loaded. I'm free falling, but that's okay, because I'm alive. I had a jetpack. I think that chest should actually be right here. If I dig straight down again, we should be able to find it. Yep, there it is. We landed right on top of it, and we've got another engineering press. So I'm just going to go on a big, worldwide adventure, and I'm going to go find all 4 of those inscriber presses.
Any daughter, I do what I like, just what I like, and how I love it.
Okay, look, we just got another. Oh, look at that. We have all 4 of them now. Perfect. We have the logic press, the silicon press, the engineering press, and the calculation press. That is all 4 of them. Perfect. I think that I should explain why you guys are getting these. What it boils down to is that your computer doesn't use normal slots like a chest does for storing items. What it uses instead is memory, actually, storage. If I come over here and look, you'll see that there are these little hard drives. There's a 1K ME storage cell, 4K, 16K, so forth, and those are actually what we are looking for. That's where we're going to be building. In order to build those though, you have to, oh my goodness, buttons. In order to do that though, you have to make certain parts of a circuit that build these hard drives that you're going to use to store your items. So let's go ahead and learn first how to do that. you're going to need what's called an inscriber. It is right there. It's this item. It takes 2 sticky pistons. Good news though is that sticky pistons can actually be made using raw rubber like we just saw there. And if you guys remember from last time, I told you that we're going to need some raw rubber. This is where that comes in handy, or at least one place where that comes in handy. We've got plenty of charged Certus quartz going on here, but anyway, so that's not going to be a big problem for us. We're also going to need more of these Fluix crystals. So that's why we're getting all of this charged Certus quartz, is so that we can build up towards having this computer. I'm going to start by making a few of these inscribers. I suggest that you get about 16 of them. If you're feeling like that's a bit much, keep in mind you can start with less, but just remember that if you do, you might be hating yourself later, because the way that I build this system, the way that I build it, guys, is going to make life so much easier. We automate everything in this series. That way you don't have to babysit it. It takes a lot of original investment for time, but is so worth it in the long run, and unlocks a lot of doors for you guys. So if we're going to build 16 of these, we're going to need 80 pieces of iron. That's going to be pretty easy to get our hands on. I've already got it, actually, you know, from the automated smelting that we had. It's all coming together, right? We've got our iron. That will be more than enough for what we're building here. I also said earlier I wanted to build some pistons. Seems to me like we're going to need more of those, so let's go ahead and just build some more of those pistons.
I'm right here to stay when I won't stray. I'll be right in my prime. Living.
There we go. I've just built another stack of pistons, or at least I thought I did. There we go. New stack of pistons. Let's see if I've got any rubber just on hand. It looks like I do. So we can easy peasy make an entire stack of sticky pistons. We'll use those probably in the future as the game progresses. We've got our iron here. So let's go ahead and just split that up into 5 stacks like we need to. There we go. They need to go like this. We'll put these sticky pistons in here like that. And then we need some more Fluix crystals. Remember, you do that just by getting some nether quartz ore. We're going to grab 8, because that's going to give us enough. We're going to need 8 charged Certus crystal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or sorry, yeah, Certus quartz. And then we're also going to need 8 pieces of redstone. There we go. Now you come over here to the water. If you go into your inventory, you don't have to drag and drop. If you hold shift and then push your puke button, for me it's Q, that'll just drop all of it at once, which makes your life a little bit easier, just a few seconds easier, you know. Oh, that was a pickaxe. That's the disadvantage of having it set to Q. I've actually lost items like that before. Have to be careful. Okay, so I'm going to take these Fluix crystals and put them in here. We've got all 16 inscribers. Ta-da! Just like that. It's perfect. It's perfect. Okay, so next off on our list is these. Just like this are going to require power. We're going to hook it up a little different though, actually. How we're going to do this is we're going to give ourselves about 2 blocks away from the wall and do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like that. We're going to put that there, and then you're going to do the same. Oh, whoops. Shump. There we go, man. I'm doing awful at this right now, but we go ahead and we... Oh!
In the sunlight, loving in the moonlight, having a wonderful time.
There we go. Let's go ahead and run our Harden's flux duct all the way through them like that. We're going to actually bring the height up 1 more on each side. Pull it back like that. Go ahead and connect them, and then we're just going to plug it on using this this connection we've already got over here. Let's see here. I really wish I could just like fly with creative flight right now, which is possible actually using Feed the Beast, but I just don't have the resources yet. But anyway, there we go. These are all powered up now. Next thing for us to do is we need them to feed a certain resource in through the back, if I'm remembering right, or the front, I can't remember which, but you feed a resource into it, and then it feeds out the other side. And we're going to do the same system where it's automated. It's going to happen, you know, by itself. For this though, I may suggest that you have that better servo, because, you know what, crap, I actually don't remember why we need that better servo. Maybe we don't. Later though, we're going to upgrade this system to not use these little item ducts. The item ducts are very useful. They're also very slow, and I don't really like that because it bogs down my whole system. We're going to later use these things, I think they're called conduits. Conduit. There it is. These guys right here, item conduits. They require some items that we don't know about yet though. Requires another item we don't know about, and it requires ender pearls, which makes this, in the early game especially, expensive. But good news is that later we are actually going to build an enderman farm that's going to harvest endermen for us. I know, sounds cool. Give us ender pearls, which is just a big item in this mod pack. Alright, so now that we've got our, we're going to set these item conduits up like this through the front. There you go. And then we also need to set them up in the back. I want to say that the items will actually spit out the back. I'm thinking that's the case. Could be wrong about that. But anyway, we're also going to need a couple of chests in here. Let's go ahead and grab that, and we actually need more servos. We're going to need one servo for each of these connections, making out to be a total of 16. If you guys remember how to make that, I think it takes redstone. It also takes some iron. It takes some glass. If I can find my glass. There we go. And it goes something along these lines. You know what, we're gonna look it up. Servo. There we go, little baby servo. And yep, I did have the recipe at least more or less right. Let's go ahead and grab some of these little iron nuggets. Stick them on in there, and there we go. We've got, hopefully, enough servos to meet our needs. We also need some more chests. I'm just going to make a bunch of them because I'm all done with making chests. There we go, chests made. Let's go ahead and stick these dudes right here just like this. I'm actually going to put it though not at the extreme end. This will just help to cut down time. Don't know really how to explain why, but trust me when I say it does. Next off though is for us to, we need to actually let all of these lead to just one single chest. This isn't a necessity per se. However, it does make life easier so you don't have to like hop back here over chests to get to your finished product, right? Okay, next in this little thing that we're doing here is, again, you guys need to remember the purpose of all of this is to make us some little hard drives that are going to store our stuff. And this is just one step in a long process. The reason I'm not going ahead of the process is because it's just a lot to go over. So this is, trust me, this is the easiest way to do it. Though now what we need is we need to assign each of these one of these types, a calculation press, or maybe an engineering press, maybe the logic press, and finally the silicon. I'm going to set mine up actually in alphabetical order. Just, it makes it easy peasy for measy. So let's go ahead and load this one up with one of those. Boom. Load that one up with the same type. Move over, put the engineering press in that one, put the engineering press in that one, put the logic press in here, and finally we'll put the silicon press in here. Alright, if I go back to the crafting table, Actually, you know what? We're gonna put a crafting table in that other room. I'm all done. I'm tired of walking back and forth. I likes being lazy. So I'm just gonna go like this and make us a bunch of crafting stations. And we're gonna stick them right in here so that I don't have to walk back and forth anymore, because I don't like walking back and forth. But we need 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 6. We need 10 iron blocks so that we can get some more of these presses. I'm going to put 1 in here, and watch how this works. It's going to load. It's boom, 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 and ta-da! There's the inscriber calculation press, but we do need 1 more of those. When it comes out, you just put it in the next one, and that's how you get more of these. You only have to go find meteors once. After that, you are set for good for the rest of your Minecraft world. But for now, we do need additional iron to just build into more of those presses. So we got the calculation presses done. I'm going to go ahead now, and I'm going to do the engineering presses. I'm also going to get these guys started. I mean, might as well, right? Since we have to wait for it to load anyway. Ta-da! Let's go ahead and... oh, we don't need any more of those, actually. We've got both of them. Let's load that up, load that up. Come back over here. We've got inscriber logic press right there. And let's make both of those at once. That one's done. And that one is done. Now last is, of course, we just got to move on to the silicon press. There you go, all 3 made, and let's just go ahead and put those in there. Ta-da! Done deal, people, done deal. We've got that all taken care of, and that is going to come in handy later. We are going to come back to that, but it is one of the first things... oh, you know what, we're actually not done. I forgot to put up the servos. So you need one right there on this chest in the front. That's for the Certus quartz. Don't forget to turn off the redstone control, change it to ignored. Now I just want to test and make sure I'm doing this right. I'm going to put a diamond in here because that's what these engineering presses are made of. Goes straight into here, and when it's done, we're going to get that printed engineering circuit. If I go around to the back and put this on here and change it to ignored, it should pump out and into the chest. There we go, there it is, and that'll come and not do what we want. Alright, so just had to figure something out really quick. You set up all of these servos on here like this. I had a problem where it was pumping from this one into that one. That was just because I didn't have the servo on it. So make sure that you have all those servos in place before you try to get this done. Okay, and there we go. That's all set up. And now you'll see that if I just stick some diamonds in here, it'll start to feed those diamonds into different ones of these automatically, and then it will start to pull them out from the back after they complete and feed them down through the piping system and into the chest, just like that. Now we can find them in here, and that's great. That is an automatic process. The way that you'd have to do it if you didn't have this system is you'd sit here, you'd put the diamond in, and then you'd pull it out. And I did that once, and it took forever to make any kind of progress. It wasn't worth my time. So this simplifies things a lot. It might not look like something that simplifies, but it does. Anyway, next off though is that we need to make these things called pure Certus quartz, I think. Let's look up this. Pure Certus quartz crystal. How do you do it? You drop a Certus quartz seed made from Certus quartz, dust, and sand into a puddle of water. To make the process go faster, add crystal growth accelerators. If you don't add those crystal growth accelerators, by the way, it's just going to go really, really slow. We don't want that. Trust me, it's going to take like 10 hours of real time, not game time, to grow that. So you have to get those growth accelerators, or else it's just not going to work. We're going to go over that though, and then we will continue after that, probably in the next episode. Let's look at how to make these first. These crystal growth accelerators, you need quartz glass, some iron, some EMI glass cables, and then these Fluix blocks. They're made like that. First though, let's go ahead and make the Fluix blocks. It looks the easiest for us. We want 5 of these because it'll accelerate it the fastest it can go. You'll have your water, you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5th one on the bottom. That's the way that we're going to do it. So that means that we're going to need 20 of these Fluix crystals. We've got 34 of these charged. We may need to make another trip to the Nether, but that's okay. We're going to need lots of that quartz anyway, so might as well. Yep, we're going to definitely need a trip into the Nether, so let's get that taken care of. I just heard chicken. Oh, dude, look! It's a chicken! Sup, dude? He's just chilling in the Nether. I don't know why he thought it was a good idea to come here. Maybe he needed some quartz too. I don't know. Last time we came, though, we couldn't fly, but now we can. That might make things a little easier for us. And there we go. There's our first batch of... Oh, that's saltpeter. I'm actually going to pick this up, though, because later in the game, go figure, I'm going to need saltpeter. It's going to be important to us. There we go. We've got some of that saltpeter. We also did find a little bit of nether quartz in there. My best suggestion to you guys is just to fly to the nearest quartz place, because mining in the nether, this is just faster. There's so much exposed area that you'd be better off just flying anyway. And if you can, try to find these ones that are on the ground, because they're the easiest to get, obviously. One thing I think about nether quartz is I don't think that the zombie pigmen get mad at you for mining it. At least I hope not, because having all the zombie pigmen mad at you sucks, because then they want to kill you. Don't know if it's the same story with the saltpeter or not, don't remember. But I'm just going to keep on mining this. Also, if you guys see glowstone, especially easily accessible, like all this here, I definitely suggest picking that up. I cannot overstate the importance of glowstone later on, so that's just another one of those resources that if you see it, you get it. Now I know that I'm going to need a lot of this this Fluix stuff that we've been talking about, you know, these guys here. I know I'm going to need a lot of it, so I'm going to go ahead and actually just make a full stack of it for now. There we go, got all those Fluix crystals right there, and we need to turn those into 5 of these blocks. Got that. Next off, we need some quartz glass. Now the way that that's made is by mixing glass with the dust edition of this stuff. Since right now I believe I have more Certus quartz, not normal quartz. I think I have more Certus quartz than the other kind. I'm gonna go ahead and pull these out of here. I'm gonna make just a bunch of this dust so that I can get this glass stuff. You end up using this quartz glass a lot actually over the life of this mod pack, and so we're gonna just make a bunch of it. I'm gonna break this up into 4, not 5. I'm gonna break this up into 4 and just put them right into the pulverizer. Good thing we had these pulverizers. No, these should not pump out automatically into here because there's nothing to cook them into. They don't turn into anything. And there we go. We have all of our Certus quartz dust. I'm gonna just teleport, you know, back home because I'm lazy. I'm gonna grab my glass because we knew we needed some of that. So let's go ahead, and I think it was 4 glass to 5 dust. Yep, that's right. So I'm gonna break this into 4 stacks like that. Then I'll just hold this down and break it into 5 stacks, best as it will go. That'll give me that many pieces of Certus glass. Don't worry if you make too much of this, because you'll find out that there really is no such thing as too much quartz glass. It's just one of those resources you're going to end up using a lot. But let's go to our crafting table here. I'm going to start laying out this recipe for you guys. There we go. Next off on our list is we need some IMI cable stuff. This glass cable made again from these Fluix things, and also from more different kind. It's quartz fiber, so I'm gonna have to go and break down some more Certus quartz. Okay, there we go. This is another one of those things that it's just difficult to make too much of it, but for the sake of conserving a little bit, I'm going to just use half of our Fluix crystals. And there we go. We've got some Fluix glass cables. Next off is obviously 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we need some iron, and that should cut it for us. Let's see here, it should be in that chest right there. We're starting to run low on iron already, guys, already. But there's our crystal growth accelerator. You'll see down there the achievement. Accelerator is an understatement, and how true that is. We're gonna need to move this little water though to a new location, so let's go grab a bucket for that. Just one, not four. I'm also going to want probably some of these planks just to have something to build with. Now then, one thing about these crystal growth accelerators is that they actually don't run off of straight RF. Unfortunately, they don't. So what you'll need to do is you're actually going to need to transform that RF into the applied Energistics form of energy. I don't actually remember what that's called, but the block to do that is called an energy acceptor, and that's how you make it. Pretty basic recipe. We should actually have the resources to do that right on hand. There we go. We've got an energy acceptor, and again what that does is it converts RF into the applied Energistics form of energy. For some reason most of these machines can run off of it, but some, like the crystal growth accelerator, don't accept it, and you know, that's whatever. We get over that. What I want to do though is I want to put that right there. I'm probably just going to run my line of RF across the floor here. Usually I try to avoid putting these on the floor, but for now, since I don't actually have a ceiling in this room, this is probably the easiest way for me to accomplish it. And you know, the good news is that with my crescent hammer I can change that anyway. There we go. Now we have the power running over to here. What we do next is we grab these glass cables and doot, just like this. Good. We grab the crystal growth accelerators and put them like that, like that, like that, and like that. And then one on the ground. Something to know though about these is that they actually suck up a ton of power. My current power system isn't built to continuously handle this guy. I mean, later we'll have a power system where this will be negligible, but for now, if we were to leave this running continuously, we would probably eventually run into problems. So the way that we're actually going to fix that is we're going to make it to where we can turn the power off using this right here called an IMI toggle bus. It's made by using a lever and some glass cables, some redstone. Pretty easy. Just grab that. Let's go ahead and grab this for a stick. I think I have a piece of cobble on my inventory. I do. We're going to make that lever just like that. Go over to the crafting table. I don't remember how this was made, so bear with me. I think it was like this. Yep, toggle bus. You are going to need, though, one more lever in order to make this work, and I'll show you why once we get to it. But what you do is you take this toggle bus, you stick it right there. Oh, maybe not. So what you do is you're going to take this toggle bus. I just realized though I got to move this energy acceptor over by one. I had it in a little bit of a bad spot. Just for safety though, I'm going to move it over for 2. Let's move that like this. You take this toggle bus that we just had a second ago and you stick it right... Dang it! You stick it somewhere special. I swear we're going to get there, guys. You stick it right there. There we go. And you'll notice that it's not running anymore. It isn't using up our energy, and if I just stick a lever, should flip. I might have to put the lever here though. Oh no, it was working. Just took a second for it to respond, but there we go. You can see that it is now working by all of these cool little electric effects that are coming out of here. Just for the sake of making this look a little prettier though, I'm going to do something along those lines later. We'll maybe surround that in some slabs, make it look pretty. We're going to put that in there, and that is how you make the accelerator for making some of that pure Certus quartz that we're going to need. We're going to make one of those, and that'll be really it for today's episode. We're going to start bringing this all together next time though, and it'll actually start to make sense of why we're doing all of this. So I've got my piece of sand, I've got my piece of Certus quartz dust, and that will give us 2 seeds. So essentially you're taking one piece of Certus quartz and you're actually turning it into 2, which by itself is hugely valuable. But we put that in there, and then we turn this on. Really quick though, before we let this do its job, you'll notice it says that this item never despawns. That's great, because of the amount of time it takes for these to grow. If they did despawn, you know, everyone would get frustrated, because they'd never have Certus quartz pure crystals. They'd just go away. Let's wait for these to grow though. And there we go, those are fully grown now. If I step in there, we'll go ahead and pick them up. We've got pure Certus quartz crystal. Now what you can do with these is, you'll remember these calculation presses. If I go over here and look for a calculation processor, CALC, like this, it takes some stuff to make that we'll go over next time, but it also takes this printed calculation circuit here, and that requires pure Certus quartz crystal. That cannot just be normal Certus, it has to be the goods. So we're going to stick these 2 in here, and it's going to start pumping them through, because we've got this nifty automated system set up, and now we can start cracking down on these guys. But that's all that we have time for this episode. Please subscribe, you know, all that good stuff, and tune in with me next time so that we can find out just how all of this is actually going to benefit you. Again, guys, I know that right now it probably doesn't make the biggest amount of sense, but later, when you see what this is capable of, it's gonna be huge. It's gonna be mind-blowing. Thanks for tuning in.